us off, Tim.
Oh, we're starting.
Yeah.
You didn't.
That's the point, because
I
I get
didn't
that podcast answer. It's quality.
You didn't indicate that. Okay. 5, 3, 2, 1, 4.
Bernie Benson
Welcome to Two Six Packs and a Mic. I'm your host, Ananto Zaman. Today we have 3 astounding guests. I'll let them introduce themselves.
That's not how guests work.
That's how guests
No, you
work.
introduce the guest.
You're not gonna introduce
Just-
me, Ananto?
Local pedophile, Neil Shaw. Tim and Parth Jain, Stound Genius and Nobel Prize laureate 2017. So,
Congratulations, my man.
Thank you.
And we're gonna start off this by doing a story from Parth. So basically, we're gonna have these little story times if we can. The rules are we're not allowed to interrupt anyone, but we're allowed to boo. So Parth, why don't you take the floor?
Why, thank you, Tim. It all started when I was on my way to receive my Nobel Prize.
Boo!
Sound like a cow. Sorry.
No.
Continue.
So I was in the I had a layover at the German airport. I can't remember what city it was. It's probably terrible.
Munich.
Frankfurt?
Yes, Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Oh.
Frankfurt. So I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth, and the guy who was sitting next to me on the first flight into Frankfurt came in, and he was like, "Hey," all right? And I hadn't talked to him. I hadn't talked to him during the flight, and I don't think. So, anyways, not important. Not important. Hey,
It's kind of weird, though. I mean, honestly, yeah.
He just
A
said
little
hi.
bit of-
no, I mean, right? Yeah. So he's like, "Hey," I was
fair.
like, I did my head nod, right? Because I had my brush in my mouth.
Oh, God.
And so I was brushing, and he's like, "Can I borrow that Can I borrow that toothbrush after you're done with it?" I was like, "Ah." So I just kept brushing, and then through my foamy mouth, I was like, "Oh, sorry, no hablo inglés." Right? And he was like, "Oh, but hablas español?" So I was just like, "Quid?" Because I thought that's how you say "what" in French.
Quid.
Quad.
You know that's a
Is it
dog.
quoi?
We were literally over
This
this
is
lap.
what the... You ran yourself into a corner. Oh, wait, I can't interrupt. Boo!
But yeah, so that was it. And then I had to give him the toothbrush after I was done.
What a good Samaritan.
And then I just left. Like, he was like, "Ah, thanks,
Wait,
man."
he kept it?
Oh,
yeah,
this man's gonna...
Well, I don't know. I didn't stay in there long enough to find out. So I just left because I don't want that toothbrush back.
What the
But,
hell?
Sure,
That's
somebody,
surreal.
if somebody wanted it, you could probably just pass it on to someone else.
Okay.
Well,
Here-
he can pass it on to someone.
How many
Oh,
people
yes.
had the toothbrush before you had it?
I was, as far as I know, I was the first.
Here's
Far
a
as you
key
know.
question.
Well, my mom used it to clean the toilets, but
Oh, okay.
like it wasn't in anybody's mouth.
Was it like one of those travel toothbrushes, or was it like your actual toothbrush?
It was like a toothbrush.
Like an actual toothbrush?
Yeah.
Good one.
What the heck?
Shame.
Right? Yeah, it's like
Damn
the
shame.
rubberized ones.
Yeah.
The
Who
fun
the
ones.
hell asks that?
I don't know.
And also, why
man.
would you go, no hablo español?
Did I say no hablo español? I thought I said no hablo inglés.
Or Anglo.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry, that's it, yeah. Why would that be your go-to?
Well, what am I supposed to say?
No, what
Just
the
say
fuck?
no.
No, you could have just said something
Just
in
say,
Hindi, right?
no, you do not have my consent, mister. And then pull down your...
No, I really don't like to say no. Is the problem?
Oh,
So instead you said, no, English.
Yeah.
What the... That is a fantastic story.
Okay, let's rate this.
Thank you.
first.
Yeah, you
Pretty-
thought it'd
pretty
be
solid
bad,
story.
right?
No, I didn't think it was going to be bad. I just
Yes,
didn't
you
know
did.
if we could, like, branch off from it. And I don't know if we can, but, like, that is...
5 stars
weird.
out of 5 stars. Great story. Great story.
So would you
Well
all
done.
actually say no if he?
Yes!
were to-
Bro, yeah.
I'd be like, no, man, like, this is my only toothbrush. I would make up an excuse, like, I need this for tomorrow or anything. Like,
Oh.
there's
I need this
plenty
for
of ways
class.
to get out of it.
But, like-
I wipe my ass with this thing. You sure about that?
But it's just a toothbrush.
The bristles help.
Is that
I
how
don't know
you
what-
get off? So you groom their...
What?
Uh,
Oh, no. Okay.
Okay, so...
But thankfully, he was not on my connecting flight, so that was the last
Would
time I
be
ever
weird
saw him.
if he gave it back to you.
Hey man, you ran off before I could get this back to you.
No, it's like that one time we talked about, like, if you act, like, with enough confidence, you can do whatever.
Yeah. Confidence.
You just take people's toothbrush.
Just swipe it out of their hand.
Like, this is mine now.
Some 4-year-old's like Spider-Man toothbrush. Like, nah, son. This is mine. Take his toothpaste too and just walk out. What the heck? When was this flight?
I believe it was 2 years ago. 2
Okay.
years ago. Yeah.
So this is like mini part. Did you still have the mustache then?
Ooh,
That's
a
a good
a
one.
photo
think
that
so.
popped up recently. It was
Yeah.
very-
No, it
no,
didn't.
somebody's birthday.
No, it didn't. Wait, does everybody see those?
Yeah.
Like,
not
I'm
I
like
thought it was just me because I was in the photo and the
No,
person
no,
who posted it and the person
if we're
whose
friends
birthday
with you,
it was.
So
sorry, lad.
yeah, facial hair, man. It only works on some, or according to some people, it works on none. What are you gonna do? By the way, if you just heard that beep, we have like 6 pillows on top of it. This episode that didn't stop it, but
I mean, I think it's better.
You know
It's
what?
better than before.
yeah, next week we're gonna have like 8 pillows, and then we're gonna move to 10, 11. You know, eventually we're just gonna put the mattress on top.
But I thought the mattress had a purpose.
The mattress is our
It has-
acoustic foam. the poor man's acoustic foam.
Yes. All right.
All right, so we'll
more stories.
more stories. I guess since we're on the theme of awkward situations that were like basically our own fault, right?
Oh,
We were in English last week, right? And the teacher just gets up in front of the class and asks us, "Okay, make me laugh. Go in your notebooks, write something down, make me laugh," as like a practice for getting a reaction from the audience, right? Now, I like to think I'm semi-funny in real life, but in writing, it's really, really hard because A, she's a teacher, I have no idea what she thinks is funny, and B, it's writing. So
Better piece.
yeah, that's our pizza. We'll take a quick break. Hell yeah.
You should get an ear stud.
So we're back on.
we are.
Rudely interrupted by the pizza man, but at least not by myself. Ananto, why don't you go on?
Right, so we were talking about the teacher basically having us write a funny story, okay? Or something that'll make her laugh. Now, super difficult. So first thing I think of is, all right, I'm going to write down some puns. It's going to be really, really good. It's going to be really, really funny. Write down, this assignment is pun-believable. Can't think of anything else. I'm just like, oh, okay. Maybe if I go for like English-related puns. I'm just like, oh, even though we're in Lang, this assignment is so lit, right? Again, it's respectable,
Okay.
it's flattering.
Okay.
Then I just die right there. I can't think of anything else. So I'm just like, all right, what I can do best? Roast. So, start off with AP class, more like a piece of trash.
Oh shit! Yeah,
Ooh.
I'm impressed.
End it with, even though you wanted to make us laugh, this assignment, no, you wanted to make us laugh. Too bad, this class is a joke.
Damn.
Just
I think this is a slippery
end it
slope.
right there, right? You want to end strong. I hadn't realized it as I was writing it, but turns out she wanted to actually read what we had written, okay? So we go into class the next day. She's just like, oh, okay, you kids sitting in that row, which is, well, me, come up here, I want to read it. And she's like in front of the entire class, okay? So I have 0 time to write anything else. So, I do the walk of shame, go up there, hand her my notebook, and then I just like say under my breath, this one will be a little different, okay? So I'm watching her face as she's reading it, and it just goes into straight shock. Like, she's just like, what is this? And what kind of, like, a head ass would do this, okay? And turn this into so she just looks at me, looks back at the paper, and then just, like, die. And the class is watching too. They're just like, what has he written? So she looks at them and then recites my whole thing. And she only does this for me. She only said mine out loud. But she just went through it and then handed it back to me. I'm just like, sorry. And I did the walk of shame back to my desk.
And just like that, you won the entire class's respect and mine. Holy shit.
What a
Fantastic.
lad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the same assignment, me and Tim. We didn't get nearly the same reaction, unfortunately. We're just not funny people compared to this calcular active boy. What'd you write about, Tim?
Pickles.
Pickles, yeah.
Pickles.
I just roasted a kid in my class. It was just mean. It was mean spirit. No, I didn't do
No,
that.
the punchline was awful.
The punchline was absolutely the entire thing was awful.
What was it about? What was yours?
Okay, well, we made a deal that we wouldn't out people not on the show. And
No,
this
no,
is not
no.
even a good friend of mine. This is just someone in our class. But
I don't think
essentially,
it's that much of an out.
it's not. Yeah, it's
It's
just,
a reputation.
I guess.
It's earned.
You know what?
kinda
He
good
did earn
one.
it. Yeah.
Or
Um,
she?
It was a he.
Okay,
I hope. I think. I shouldn't say I hope.
We don't know as of now.
Well, maybe not. He's
Like,
not on the show.
theoretically.
Yeah. What,
Or
anyway.
she.
Okay, so essentially, I just went on like this elegant speech, and by eloquent, I mean just
Air quotes.
superficial. Yes, just completely bullshit my way through, just talking about humanity's journey to enlightenment and how we've described time over the years. You know, before we knew that our planets rotated around the sun, we described the year. Yeah, it was a dumb story. It's incredibly dumb. I'll boo myself. Boo. But essentially, the punchline in the end was like, we've come so far as humanity, but we still can't understand one thing, and that's the Millen historical perspective. Because I don't know if you've ever had a class with Millen, but that man, he goes on some long tangents. They're very informative, well-spoken tangents, but they're tangents that are very, very long. And when I turned that in, Dr. Boswell, our English teacher, just kind of looked at me, was just like, what the fuck's wrong with you? You're not, it's not funny, this is just mean. Like, sit back down, kid. Sit back down.
Sit your ass down.
Sit your ass.
Do I talk about mine now? Or
I don't know. I don't think yours is worth talking.
Boo.
um,
It was like a satire of James Bond. So like the first paragraph was alright, then just went to shit because it was awful. So it was like, name's Pickle, dill, pickle, visibly shaken, mentally disturbed.
drinks?
No, it's like a pun.
Shaken, not stirred.
Yeah, so it's
Shaken,
like a pun. So like
disturbed.
visibly shaken, mentally disturbed.
I know, but I was just making a rhyme because it's like James Bond, drinks, shaken.
My
not
first
stirred.
line was that it's a
Shaken, not
parody. Of,
stir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but that's why I was.
oh.
I was adding on to it.
Oh, like helping me tell this. Oh, thank you, Neil. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I don't often help. It's fair.
So then, yeah, it was bad.
And then from then on, yeah.
Wait, I feel like had you said the story to her, but with like a Sean Connery accent, like
You would just be like laughing.
visibly shaken, not disturbed.
Her name's Pickle. Jill Pickle.
The problem is, Pickle has such a bad rap because of Rick and Morty now. That like,
is true.
it's also like double as cringy. Pickle Rick.
Remember, like last year for like the lit test, one of the readings was just as about a man named Mr. Pickle and him losing a sword fight to some other dude. It's hilarious.
Pickle fight, you say?
Oh, wait,
Oh
yeah.
God, what are the implications of that?
Horser's class and the sword as a
Phallic object.
yeah.
This is what you get when you get 4 men around a single mic.
4 men, 2 6-packs.
Wait.
Guess whose has them? No, it's 2 6-packs in total.
Yeah, it's 3 each.
I don't know if I have 3, man. No, I'm getting there.
Well,
One day.
I mean,
One day.
1, 2, 3. This probably doesn't work.
Wait,
You're
no,
pointing to
you're
your
pointing to your
boobs
nipples
and
on-
your
Yeah.
stomach.
Boob, stomach. Yeah,
That's 3.
that is 3.
I think Ananto's dad bod counts for at least 2 dozen.
Oh yes. He's ready to make you his child.
So I think that's a good.
Okay,
That was a good
You want to
intro.
transition, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so that was a good introduction. You know, get the viewers excited. That was solid, honestly. I'm happy with that.
You're just patting yourself on the back.
I mean, I'm patting all of you guys on your backs because that was a solid story from Parth, Ananto,
mhm.
great addition, and then Tim, you absolute piece of pickle.
So
Garbage.
Neil, now that you're done, jerking ourselves off, you want to get to the point here?
Yeah, so now it's something that I missed in episode 1, but we should probably talk about this podcast like as holistically,
this is a
why
good
we're actually
story.
doing it. Because so we did that for episode 0, which was like a test run when we were testing equipment and everything. We shared it with a few
Which
friends.
shall
just to get
never
some
see the
feedback.
light of day.
Oh, yeah. Patreon subscribers only. Yeah, I just stole the Nanto's joke there. Sorry, buddy. So anyways, I thought we would all go around, tell the viewers why, not viewers, audience, whatever, why we're doing this as an individual.
Yes.
So, I mean, I guess I'll start then.
You want-
So Tim introduced this idea to me like 2 months ago, maybe. And I was like, dude, that sounds like a blast. I'm narcissistic. You're narcissistic. No. But I can hear
just
myself
super
talk.
obsessed,
Why
man.
not? Yeah. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So it started off slowly, but we started gaining momentum as we started getting Andrew on the team. We got Parth, and I was like, hey, maybe this actually could work. And we got a diverse set of personalities and perspectives. And
Boo.
main reason is just it was a good experiment to hone my own conversational and communication skills, because this is a setting that I'm going to find myself in a lot, where I have to entertain people that are around me, and it's even more difficult to entertain people who aren't around us. We're essentially, the whole concept of a podcast is to have a conversation with someone.
Keep
What is going? Okay, yeah. It's to have
put
a
that away.
conversation.
Oh my god.
All right, zip it back up.
Okay.
All right. It's to have a conversation with someone who's not actually there, and when you can do that well, I think you can have a conversation with absolutely anyone.
You sound like those motivational gurus on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing? No, because
No.
it sounds like I'm bullshitting. Yeah.
All
And
right.
buy this product for only $20.90. I don't know what I'm saying.
Basically, Parth had radio equipment, and he apparently did have followers. And I was like, let's
No followers.
There's
no
no
followers.
It was like,
'Cause
let's
it's radio.
let's make something and throw it out there. So yeah.
Yeah, initially this was gonna be live streamed. Just imagine that.
Oh god.
That would have been.
And then you sold your radio equipment.
I did.
Wow.
How much you get for it?
$80?
Well, see, I had to pay $0 for it
Mm-hmm.
because I got it from Lake Braddock.
But it's invaluable.
But
it's
it-
the essence,
Did you
right?
steal
How
radio
much-
equipment from Lake Braddock?
Whoa,
This is only half a joke. Wait.
Doesn't your mom work there?
We'll talk about this after.
Whoa!
Okay.
Patreon subscribers only.
Yeah, Patreon subscribers exclusive.
Did your mom sneak you some radio equipment, buddy?
Look, how I got it isn't important. The important part is that I was able to flip it for about $10 on Craigslist.
Spicy.
$10.
Yeah.
Why would you sell it for $10?
Because nobody wants radio equipment.
We wanted radio equipment.
That's
I
before
thought it
knew.
was for $80. Like $80 somewhat justifies it, but $10 is like, why even
No.
bother?
Are we still gonna flip that mirror?
Shut up, Tim.
Just sitting there.
One day. Why would you sell it for? Okay, so
You could buy ice cream.
we're all
with
just
$10.
staring at Parth right now, with
Alright,
just
yes.
absolute faces of disgust.
How do you feel, Parth?
Ashamed? Is that the right answer?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Disgusted with yourself, pitying yourself. We pity you, Parth. This is just.
Okay.
I mean, knowing you, I can't blame you that much for some mistake this big.
Okay.
This is an
But
attack
as-
on your character.
Why are you here today? For
Oh, yeah.
episode?
Wait, was that it, Tim? Was that the only? Was I the only reason?
I just have ideas all the time.
Oh wait, yeah, you're still going. I thought we were on
Am I
pause.
still going?
If you want, yeah.
I think this was a good idea because I knew people who could contribute in different ways. Like Andrew had like all the tech equipment.
That's
and
all he's
even
good
you
for.
too. What? No, like
No, I'm kidding.
yeah.
No, I'm
so,
excited
like,
to actually have Andrew on. He was supposed to be here today,
yeah,
but
then he had something come
last
up.
minute, yeah.
And then like you can talk. You have some personality. Parth is just a great human being.
Parth is
And, like,
fantastic.
And then
Wrong.
Ananto is funny, so we have him on.
Yeah.
Just this bridging together, meshing together.
A Nanto, more like a piece of Tonto.
Taco? No. You
Oh.
tried.
Boo.
Story time is over.
Alright. Alright.
Why don't you
Go.
say your piece?
You have the floor.
Parth.
Well, see, I needed the validation that only a podcast posted exclusively on Facebook could bring me. And I didn't really have the face necessary for vlogging. So I guess this is it. But other than that, I feel like it'd be good to, if nothing else, at least have these conversations for my own record, because that would be fun. What are they looking at? What are you?
I'm just looking at the thing. I just realized I forgot to test whether or not this whole setup works. Like just making sure that the
Oh.
mics.
Yeah, you should probably lean in a bit.
It looks like it picks it up pretty well, but
I thought you were sniffing the table.
yeah, that's you. Okay, well,
Oh,
Ananto,
is
why
it-
don't
Well, thank you.
You're
Yeah,
up.
please, Ananto.
Is it my
Go
turn?
ahead.
All right. Well, really, I just wanted another thing to put under my resume for MIT. No, but in all seriousness, though, initially this was, I'm pretty sure, an idea that was restricted to Neil, Tim, Parth, and Andrew. And then one day, Neil just hits me up over Messenger, like, oh, yo, you want to be, like, on the podcast? And I'm just like, oh, okay, fine, Neil. I know I'm your side hoe, and I know you have, like, full power over me, but clearly he knew that I would have nothing to do, so it's like, all right, fine. And then
Other
ever
than
since then,
MATLAB?
other than MATLAB. So yeah, ever since then I've just been chilling with you guys because it's fun to talk. So
yeah, I gotta say, I saw that. Of course, I knew you weren't doing anything worthwhile with your time, but you also have to realize you have some potential as. I mean, okay, you're a funny guy, honestly. Tim,
So funny.
unironically, that was a pretty good MIT intro there, buddy. Hell yeah. That was a.
Wait, what?
Demonstrating interest for the school.
Yeah.
All right, I see.
So I just had my Stanford interview today.
Oh.
By the way, Stanford's pretty great. This interview, no, this interview. I keep calling it interview.
Is it not
You
an
tell it's still on my mind. This podcast, sponsored by Stanford. Apply today.
I think Stanford would specifically not want to be sponsoring something like this.
I think this
They
is
want their name as far away as possible. Yeah. Sorry, Stratford.
We'll go one tier
Online.
lower. Sanford University. Sanford.
There's so many.
Let's move on to something.
No, on that though,
What?
you know, like the Russians.
Yeah.
There's this really weird thing that they do where political parties, like opposition parties, the ones opposing Putin, obviously, the really new ones, what they'll do is like they'll have every party has a name, so they'll have like the party for the people. What Russia will do, like Russian officials, they'll make parties with super similar names. So like the People's Party instead of the Party of the People, and they'll put all of them on the ballot to split their vote.
Damn.
It's kind of
Like what the hell? Yeah, right? That's so genius, but it's so like such a dick move.
Imagine in America, like you just like spell that name
The
wrong.
Democratic Party, like the demo, there's like a hidden I in the middle. The Democratic Party.
Or the O is like a 0.
Yeah, I could see that happening one day.
You know what would be
It's
really
like in
easy to
Comic
do
Sans.
though? You know those like love Trump's hate signs? If you
Yeah.
just put an apostrophe in between like the P and the S for Trump, and it becomes love Trump's hate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For the
right.
longest time, I
That's what-
genuinely
yeah, that's what I
thought those
thought
were
too.
like pro-Trump stickers.
Yeah, I thought they were pro-Trump.
Guys, you have to love his hate.
Yeah.
Or some weird thing like that.
It's
but
so
no.
fresh in our political environment, guys. That's actually I saw the other day when I was in Brief's car. He drives me to school every other week. There was this one car with like, and I'm not exaggerating, 18 to 20 political stickers on their bumper, and it was like lollies for Prez,
Like
Now-
lollipops.
like LOLIS. Now I don't know if you know what a lolly is, but in Japan,
Oh,
it's
God.
something you should not look up. I shouldn't have gone into this now that I realize it.
My mom listens to these podcasts.
My mom does too.
Oh, it's a good thing my parents are not good at English.
That might be a
No,
nice segue into today's topic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not their first language, so clearly.
My dad was asking about this thing. He was like, "So where can I look it up?" I was like, "No, I do not want you to listen to this. Please, you have some respect for me,
Alright.
just as your son."
The
Hopefully,
docket.
let's move on.
Yes.
That's a good
Alright.
idea.
So,
Stop clapping.
sorry,
Oh my
I'm
God.
so excited
I know,
to be
honestly.
working here. All right. Our topic of conversation today. At what point does a joke go from being offensive to non-offensive, right? Like, say, calling someone deaf, or calling someone stupid, or calling someone retarded. Do you legitimately have a hatred against deaf people, or stupid people, or retarded people, or are you just making a joke and should it be excused?
Can you be Can you not be homophobic and call someone gay? Like,
I just think people are no longer creative with their insults, and we should look to the British.
we should look to Shakespearean insults.
I bite my thumb at you.
You absolute this is all like I remember in like my TJ prep class that our middle school offered. This wasn't like a real thing. It was complete bullshit. But we started talking about like Shakespearean insults, and they handed out packets full of Shakespearean insults, thinking that it would somehow prepare us for the TJ test.
Instead of
That-
prepared you.
That goes to show what our middle school TJ prep was like. And it was just like a bunch. And what we started doing improv with them. It was really fun. That was like the most fun TJ prep day.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that we were going to talk about insults, but may I take like a brief tangent for just a moment?
Did you just hear what I went on?
All right, so here's the thing. At our TJ prep class during 7th grade, so these are like desperate ass kids if they're taking prep classes in 7th
Seventh
freaking
grade?
grade. Yeah.
And you were
Um,
there.
Way to insult like half of the entire school, mind you.
There's just one.
Blame them for their privilege.
It was like 5 weeks and then like 5 sessions, quote unquote. And then we had like this middle-aged white guy teaching for 4 out of those 5 sessions, except for like the second to last one. all right? And then like this random lady came in. Now, these are 7th graders, right? So they're pretty interested in getting to school, and as such, they have, let's just call it extra personalities. So there's this kid, I'm just gonna make up a name, Arnav, okay?
It's a good name.
That's also a real name.
It's a real name, but it's not his name, okay?
It's like generic enough. Like there's enough people with the name.
It's a generic TJ applicant name.
So only Arnav is safe.
Pajit.
Pajit.
Don't we have an Arnav in our class?
We have an
Okay.
Arnav's at TJ. This does not refer to you, okay? Anyways, so Arnav was very, very motivated to get into TJ, but the thing is, he just did not have, like, the background to get in. And that sounds kind of mean, but
you're
there's
gonna,
also...
you're gonna get emails from like Asian parents asking how to get their kids into TJ.
But he just asked, like, the stupidest questions time again. So the time this one substitute lady comes, he goes to, like, special levels of Arnav, okay? He asks her, oh, what does your dad do? Where do you live? Like, where did you get your degree? Just really, really weird questions, okay? So at the last session, me and a friend, we walk around the MP school because it's a Saturday, eating lunch and whatever. So as we were walking back into the class, the teacher had, like, taken Arnav aside, like, near the front door. And as we're walking, we overhear him just, like, so pissed at Arnav. Because he's like, did you hit on the substitute when I wasn't here?
Oh my
and he's just
god. What? Dude, this middle schooler's got game!
But he did. He
What?
was so bad because he's so innocent.
Hey.
And he was so scared too. He's like, oh, no. I wasn't trying to. Like, 'cause you could tell he's, like, freaking out because he really wants to get into the school. And it's just like,
How is it?
Arnav, what have you done?
What the?
Yeah.
Wow, alright.
Yeah.
Find this kid.
He was such a meme. Arnav, if you're listening,
Shout out to
I
Arnav.
love you so much.
It's not even his real name.
It's not his real name, but
You know who you are.
Our spiritual Arnav.
our spiritual Arnav.
So back to seeing whether or not autistic is controversial.
Is it?
Is it? Yeah.
Is it?
Awkward silence.
So, the way I see it is, like, you can choose to be offended by stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, well, and it's totally fair. That's a complete. If somebody says, if somebody says somebody's retarded, you decide to talk to him and be like, that's not okay. Good on you, all right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you don't take action, when you ignore it at certain times, then at that point, like, what's even the point? Like, it's all or nothing when it comes to these kinds of things. You can't deny one word to certain people or to certain situations unless you deny them to all, because context is such a gray area that you can't always count on it for justifying what you say or justifying what somebody else says. Like, you either allow it or you don't. You criticize when it happens if you want, but you can't just ban the word.
Can you repeat that in simpler words? Because I'm not smart and didn't follow what you really said.
Yeah, that means a no. Yeah, okay.
I, like, kind of get it. Like, if you're allowing in a certain context, you're, like, low-key allowing it in all contexts.
Or, okay, well, not so. Okay, so look. I'm not saying you should say the N-word in a racial as a racial slur, as a derogatory term towards black people.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're talking about Huck Finn, that's totally fine. That context, yes, that of course matters. But when you're overhearing it, when you're not criticizing someone that you know or someone that is just over the internet in the same way that you don't criticize someone like that you don't know in the same way you would to one of your friends. At that point, it's not so much about the word, but about the person that's saying it, I think. So it's
like
again
intent?
Intent,
Like,
context, yeah. Because like if I hear my friends telling stuff or calling things autistic all the time, and because I don't criticize them for saying it, I don't have any right to criticize if I criticize somebody else saying it over the internet, or like if I overhear a conversation, for example.
Because you don't
Like,
know their background or what they really mean.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, yeah, that's a good way to put it. I mean, what do you guys think?
You open your mouth.
No,
first.
it's
No, it's
tough. Yeah,
It's a lot to take in. I mean, there's some times which I think you have to use this word, like at least for like autistic or retarded, because those are also medical terms.
Mm-hmm.
Just like idiot was at one point. Like that was a medical term that they would use for someone who is mentally handicapped.
really.
Yeah.
You could like as a doctor.
Like you could be diagnosed as an idiot.
You got something
Right?
to say to us?
Like the village idiot is like a title you have to earn.
No, yeah, I think that was the same thing with like stupid and other
So,
words like that. Yeah.
I think like usage has pushed them out of that context. So I think if it continues with other words, probably something similar.
It's like jaywalking. That used to be like horribly offensive, apparently, like calling somebody a jay. But then suddenly it just becomes like that's like a legal term. All of a sudden, it went from wildly offensive to legal jargon. Not jargon, but
This shows how weird.
So
the
do you think
language...
the use of the language in like vernacular kind of desensitizes people to its original implication then?
I mean, definitely.
I think
But
that's
is that a
happened
bad
with
thing?
the N-word because it shows up in music as well.
a lot. Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
but that's a different community accepting it for what it is. It's like they're taking the power away from it because initially the people who would use it were people who were putting down black people. But when your community embraces it and uses it, okay, like keep in mind this is coming from a perspective. I'm an Indian, so I'm not going to try to
Okay,
overstep.
Neil.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to overstep my boundaries here. But you're removing the power away from the word and taking it back almost. Like I think that's a respectable thing to do, and I think that's one of the best avenues to take away like a tool almost, a really weak and cowardly tool, but a tool that racist people used to use and actually still use. Yeah.
But I think most people wouldn't want us saying that word.
No,
Right?
we're
I mean,
we're
so-
avoiding it even now.
Right, so
Because-
it's still not okay. Like, so who is that? I mean, by a certain group embracing a word, does that make it? That might make it okay for them to use it, right? Like in the song or in songs or whatever. But I don't think it makes it okay for anybody else because I think that stigma still exists or stands.
So are they making it like even more exclusive in its usage?
I want to take it away from the N word specifically because I think we don't hear that over in our daily lives. Let's go back to like gay, autistic, retarded, etc. Because those are stuff you overhear all the time. Like, who was it? Over the morning announcements, they were talking about the R word at some point. And somebody had an autistic brother, and I forgot who though. But anyways,
I remember that. Yeah.
I don't know if we even if I do
Was this
remember, I
this
don't know if I should name it. Yeah, it was this year.
Oh.
And he was like, we should stop using it because it's offensive to actually retarded / even calling someone like medically retarded, I feel like has a negative connotation to it, even though that was a medical term back then and kind of is now. I mean, yeah, what do you guys think of that? Is it fair to say like that is an offensive word, we should stop using it, or in those contexts?
I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I've called like friends retarded as like a joke, right?
Same,
Because for me it was like hearing it a lot, right? And then bridging that, you hear it and then that way you use it, right? But I sort of justified it as I'm not actually trying to diss medically retarded people, right? And I'm still not really sure about like
The pillows don't do enough.
I'm still not 100% sure about, whether or not, quote unquote, like allowed to. No. I'm going around in circles here. But basically, what I'm saying is,
Well, like,
yeah.
who's stopping anyone from saying anything? There's nothing.
Wait, yeah.
Okay, so
Well,
there's.
society as like a whole is stopping you from saying certain things. It's stopping us
it-
from saying certain things right now.
But are you holding yourself to
Those
to a
standards.
certain like standard, or is
Yeah.
it like a societal norm and a societal pressure that's being like, this is the way you should act?
So I think it's that, but it's also like you can't remove the insult away from the actual like if you call someone retarded and you're not actually like, I mean, you're not like, what is it? You don't have prejudice against mentally handicapped people. Is that fair still?
But it's like the idea that you're saying that they're like someone who's.
Yeah. I mean, but you yourself don't have. Is it possible to not have prejudice against somebody while using that word? Maybe that's the question we should be asking.
Prejudice.
When you're calling somebody gay, like, okay, I don't think I've ever called somebody gay, first of all, because that's just something like. I was like, I never really saw that as a negative, even when like my friends used it, and I'm glad for that because at some point in their lives they must have for them to justify that. But even if you keep using it, even if you're like enlightened to the fact that, hey, I'm not a piece of shit, homosexual people are okay, and if you're still using gay like as a reflex almost, because I think that's what a lot of people use it.
absolutely,
But
absolutely.
like some people use it like sarcastically. as well. So that comes
Yeah.
back to context.
I mean, I'm not expecting us to come to a conclusion.
Because
That-
that's
that's a
our
tough-
perspective, maybe, is what
Yeah,
we're aiming for.
I think that I'm not going to stop someone from using it. They can find their own journey to figure out how they want to describe things in their future. And if they get criticized for it, that's on them. I'm not going to be the one doing the criticizing because if I criticize them, I have to criticize everyone. And that's just not something I want to undertake.
Alright, so that's kind of your opinion?
That's my opinion.
Okay. Should we go down the line?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, so I remember in junior year, I was pretty good friends with this guy in my Spanish class, right? And he used the word faggot a lot as like an insult, right? And it's
Yeah,
back to
you
what
can-
you guys were talking about. Like it was almost like a reflex, where like, oh, well, you fag, what are you doing? And I'm just like, I don't know. I sort of made like a joke out of it by calling him like a homophobe every time I saw him, just because he used that word. But again, I never really had like a serious talk like, hey, you should seriously consider stopping using that word, because
And
it's difficult to do it with a friend, honestly. Like to sit someone down and say, hey, you're cool and all, but change.
And you don't really know if they're actually homophobic or what they're saying is making other people homophobic. Like, because maybe that's the reason why people want to stop using the word, is because it perpetuates those prejudices. And in my eyes, again, this is only my perspective I'm talking about. So and that's the thing, like sometimes you want to let stupid people talk so you can talk them down and you can isolate them from society and ostracize them. I mean that in the nicest way possible, but yes. The really dumb people, you'd never want to stop someone from talking, especially like in so many college campuses when who was the guy? Milo Yiannopoulos? Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yeah.
Like a college, this is what blew my mind, is that a college wasn't letting him speak because of his opinions. When if you let him speak and completely shut him down, which is super easy to do because he's Milo Yiannopoulos, then then you suddenly get all the power. When you're preventing him from speaking, you're giving all the power to him. You're saying we're afraid of what he's going to say. We don't think we're going to be able to not convince him, but we're not going to be able to debate him. We're not going to be able to argue with him. And let me tell you, on a university campus, there's going to be at least someone that's going to be able to speak up.
I think the point is like he isn't someone you really are able to argue with. That's kind of like how he sold himself. Is like he's gay, he's married to a black guy, and he's going to kind of take on this Trump agenda and like spin it in a way where he's not wrong.
But then you let his argument do the own talking against his argument.
Yeah.
Right? Like you
But
just
no,
let
because
it's like
because the other guy's Ben Shapiro, like he actually makes arguments, but Milo
yeah,
isn't
that's
someone who makes arguments.
He just shit posts.
He's an extremely divisive figure, and he sort of feeds off that. And there
I
are
mean,
a lot
he's
of people
troll,
like that.
essentially.
Yeah.
He stirs up energy, and he doesn't really create an argument or a face that you can attack or support. It's just
Well, this is almost this is an entirely different conversation. It's like,
Interesting.
how do you argue against
Nothing.
against someone who doesn't listen? Do we want to?
But you're not arguing against him. You're arguing for the world. You're arguing on behalf of everyone
well,
watching.
is it your job to convince them they're wrong, or just to like lock them away in
It's
a box?
No, definitely no. Your job is not to convince anyone but the people listening. And if you can't convince the person you're actually debating, you can convince. The reason why you're debating is to get your idea out there and to show that it's better, and to let your audience know and the world know that it's better. So if you can't convince him it's better, at least show the world that it is.
Yeah.
But,
Because
like,
because
how do you-
anybody can denounce someone else, right? Or someone else's ideas. And that's not really hard. But then what you have to be able to do is provide an alternative that makes more sense, or that more people can get behind than what it is that you're arguing against. But if that isn't there, then you're just then you're no different than someone who won't listen to an argument.
And that's-
where are you drawing the line between a debater and an audience? What someone could be both. Someone who is a debater is also part of the audience.
So I'm talking about in the context of like a university, especially something as publicized as this incident. This happened like 6 months ago, maybe. It feels like that was a long time ago. Oh, recently. Well, so in that context, I think there is definitely an audience. But when you're in like a one-on-one debate with your friend, whether it be political or just something superficial, I mean, politics can be superficial too. Don't get me wrong. At that point, yeah, it's a completely different idea. That one, you want to convince them, but that's a different conversation to be having. You can tell when you go to like a classical debate versus when you're just arguing with a friend. Like, there's a difference between an argument and a debate. I think that's the words themselves have different connotations, and they bring different images to mind.
English class, the argument clinic.
No, but okay. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna try to structure my words as best as possible. Just an example. If someone came to TJ as a speaker representing the KKK, right? By TJ as an administration, letting someone from the KKK come and speak, that sort of gives their argument, like, not validity.
Like
It gives them a podium.
It gives them
Okay, so like it's the
not
school
a,
is
but
okay
it basically
with
says
them.
that, okay, this is an issue that's worth arguing, right? Now,
Or, no, that's not... Okay, wait, sorry, go on.
No, but they could just not let him speak. So yeah,
No,
it's
no,
allowing them to speak.
But allowing them to speak doesn't justify their argument anymore. Because sometimes people
but it
can
gives
have
it
bad
validity.
shit... Does,
It
like,
says,
it's
okay,
like-
this is an argument that
This
you
is
know,
legit.
but that's what...
Yeah.
But that's what we need to be
It
talking
lends
about.
legitimacy to their argument.
But some people would see if
It's
we
not
just,
legitimacy. It's not legitimacy. You're combining legitimacy with existing.
No, it's like this holds water and people should listen and then talk about it. If they just shut it down completely, it'd be like, this doesn't matter. This isn't of any importance.
But the problem is the KKK and their views does matter. When it's something like a flat earther coming to TJ, yeah, I'd be like, no, you're an idiot. But racial prejudice is such a problem in this country that is a problem that we need to talk about. And giving it a voice that everyone can see, essentially, you can look at it two ways. You're putting a figurehead on a podium, or you're putting someone who you're booing, or what do you call it? You're
Like
boycotting?
Scapegoat.
no, it's like when in like old times when instead of like
Ooh,
throwing
heckling.
them into
Heckling.
yeah, kind of, but like instead of throwing them into prison, they'll like hang them up on like
Oh,
or,
like
they'll like
stone
stick them in
them?
you essentially you're stoning them.
like a public.
Yeah, they put them in a cage and they cart them around town.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You're doing something like that, because in that sense, that's helping the greater cause, and you're
Oh.
I feel like it's a very like precarious like
so
path.
you also have to think about it like this. At TJ, it would be just us all roasting the guy for being a dumbass, right?
But like the fact that the school is letting him talk shows that the school is open to giving them.
Yeah.
A platform.
yeah.
But at the school,
But that's
at the
totally
same time,
fine.
yeah. At the same time, the school can't be.
The
The school shouldn't be like a moderator or a referee that prevents some groups from speaking and allows others from speaking.
This is a high school, but
Right.
okay, a college I agree, but at a high school level,
No, sure, sure.
But like it's taking you're taking time out of a school day for a.
make it like an 8th period. Okay,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
this
okay.
is like
No, but
this is
it's part of the curriculum, quote unquote. It's like time is taken out of class so that people can sit and listen to this guy.
So are
Yeah.
you saying? Do you think that
So
the
it's like
school
this-
shouldn't allow this person as an 8th period special speaker to be allowed?
Wait,
to
the school
speak?
does it already with 8th period. They bring speakers in.
but they're
They're
never that
never
controversial.
that controversial.
Yeah,
They'll
they're
bring
like,
in like
Right.
they're like, this
This
is how
is-
the stock market works, or something like that.
or
But
like
they-
what
yeah.
Mr. Borgelli does, where
Yeah.
he brings in multiple perspectives on a certain topic and like
Oh, yeah,
repute.
there was that time they brought in like the Republican like senator or something.
They brought in a congressman who is against climate change.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
do that.
I wasn't personally there, but I heard that from what I heard from people who were there, he wasn't. When he got asked questions about the issue, he was able to deflect them pretty like easily, quote unquote. Like there wasn't a big showdown. But
No Mortal Kombat theme in the background. Unfortunate.
listeners, if you've reached to this point and you know more about the issue, feel free to comment. Let us know.
Send us an email.
No, don't comment on this. Comment on that TJ Republicans versus Young Democrats post Gideon made. Gideon being Will Spencer in every single class. Bonus points if you do the one where I commented
Why are
the Mortal
you
Kombat
him?
combat theme. Because
Oh,
I would just want that to turn into a flame war. Because that's what it deserves to
It's
be.
not gonna be a flame war. It's gonna be like one kid
Oh,
decides
no,
to
yeah, I
say
know.
something remotely Republican, and then the rest of the.
That's how it turns into a flame war.
Ugh.
I walked into that debate / shouting match like
Oh, when they held like with both clubs went together.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I didn't actually sign up for it, but like it was so I signed up for Williams Study Hall B Block because I got kicked out of Poi Club because I didn't turn in my forms. So I just like went there, tell Mr. Williams, hey, I'm just gonna go to Poi. And he was like, all right, cool, man. Mr. Williams is one of the best teachers at the school, super chill. Shout out to Mr. Williams. Ew. Anyways, 5 minutes before the period ended, like Gideon was telling me that like they were just at each other's throats. It was just super loud. Mr. Williams was just standing in the corner, sitting in the corner, just with this look of disbelief on his face, like he was shocked at like how disgusting high schoolers could be. Like this was a new next level.
Animals.
Yeah, just a bunch of animals at each other's throats, and like so much so that I saw Camden and Gideon like hug it out afterwards. Like, what did we just go through? Like, it was rough. Apparently, I'm glad I missed it. Or actually, I don't know. I feel like
It would've
that's
been a good
something.
story.
It would have been interesting.
Yeah,
I should have
that
like,
would
a
have been a good.
sports
Next time, have them
commentator through the whole
both
thing.
here.
Yes.
We can
Whoa.
rehash old feelings.
Listeners, if you're a young Republican or a young Democrat, send some mail to us at This Is Neil's House,
.com.
Burke, Virginia.
Springfield.
You know the rest. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Springfield, my
It's
man.
like a
but
walk
yeah.
away from West Springfield,
Yeah, it's like a 10-minute walk. I used to walk there actually, first half of high school,
and just stop
and then walk
walking.
back. No, because then my bus got.
Yeah,
bus stop
if you
changed.
come on, we'll let one of you speak and completely stonewall the other. Just like.
No, I don't want to get political.
But okay, going back to
We can just do equal
What
flaming.
we-
Going back to getting political.
Wait, what was our topic?
Oh, you know, it was a good tangent.
It was
That
about like
happens.
letting people talk, right?
Yeah.
Voices.
personally,
When is it the right time to cut somebody off?
I would not be comfortable if the administration let someone from one of those hate groups, whether it be the KKK or Nazism or whatever, come to talk at this school.
I mean, would you
Right,
be surprised
'cause-
with Dr. Bonner Bodibus, though? I mean, if anyone's gonna allow... No, I'm sorry.
Good job, Neil.
Hey,
Appreciate you, Neil.
hey, this administration's already a couple Nazis, right? Isn't that the whole joke? Ayo.
Boo.
You're gonna like the secret police is gonna knock on your door. You see like a golf.
The honor code Gestapo! We heard you were Indian! Anyways,
I don't know. I disagree with you, Anato.
I'm all for conversation as well.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't feel like it'd be
like
the
they
school
wouldn't.
is.
The school wouldn't do that.
I don't feel
Right?
like
I fully.
Yeah, no,
like,
it's,
I
it's
never
not
expect.
gonna happen.
I
Yeah.
never expect that to come down to that. But like personally, I'd want to hear what the argument of the other side is. At least, if nothing, at least if I don't agree with them, at least maybe to see how a different side thinks, and at least maybe learn to tolerate that opinion.
No,
Which-
not tolerate.
wait,
I'm gonna agree with Ananto as in like I don't
I'm gonna-
think. Oh,
Okay, so I just want to comment on parts then real
Uh-huh.
quickly. To tolerate their opinion, no. I would listen in so I know how to fight it. Because when you know how the other side thinks, you can attack them where it actually matters. Instead of just calling them...
we know that logic is not something that applies half the time to these
No.
arguments.
No, but it does. Keep in mind, when you just call someone racist, they're like, okay, fine, I'm racist. They accept that. But when you target why they are, you target their hardships that they went through, their personal experiences of why maybe they grew up in a
You're trying to
family.
make people feel guilty.
Yes. No, I mean, maybe that's how you want to put it, but you're going to get so much further than just by calling someone a racist. By telling them that what you're doing it has no justification, because their justification is meaningless. It's not meaningless, I shouldn't say that, but their justification is already superficial. I mean, their prejudice is superficial. It's completely surface level.
No, I don't think
It's
that's
epidermal.
No, I don't think that's true.
Oh my
Like,
God.
for example, I have a neighbor who does not believe in global warming, right? So after talking to them, I've come to realize that it's not that he doesn't believe in global warming. It's just that he chooses to focus on issues that are more that he considers more pertinent to the global the I can't say
The
global
world.
climate
Oh, okay.
because that's
Basically the world,
like different
No,
global
it's like Dr.
issues,
Sickler, honestly.
right? So he doesn't want to concern himself with trying to save the environment because he thinks that other issues like unemployment would be more important.
Okay,
than
yeah.
that. And so from his standpoint, like I still don't agree with the just turn a blind eye to all the signs of global warming happening or not happening, but at least I can sort of understand and learn to accept that okay, this person isn't a bad person, and I can't. And of course, that becomes harder to say with more polarizing issues
Yeah.
like neo-Nazis or something like that. But I think it's an important step and at least a start.
And when you realize that their arguments do have some kind of justification for them, you have to realize that to fight it. And I'm going back to like the superficiality, but like that is when you realize you have to convince yourself that they're a good person, and that you just have to convince them like you need to just. You can't look at them as some object. You have to realize they're a person. They have background experience. They have hardships that led to the way of thinking.
Well, yeah, there's like a story on NPR once about someone who like quit one of those like white hate groups, and the point was that they joined it out of fear. Like if they joined that group, they figured that people would be afraid of them. They would have a sense of power, and it's almost like they joined it out of necessity, and then it's like how they left the group, so they realized this isn't what they wanted with life. And how they kind of recuperated is by going and visiting people of other races, living with them, and learning them about them.
Like, for example, wouldn't you guys want to know how the KKK recruits new members? Like, that's something that we could learn from, like, a speaker, for example, and then that's how we can, like, fight against it almost. It's thinking about, like, an argument, except, like, on a macro perspective, looking at just how
like, having one of their wizards come in and tell you...
Having one of their wizards,
No,
yes.
but...
Yeah.
Neil.
No, they're grand dragons.
Neil, that's the thing. When you have a group that so openly is hateful towards people of other races, that so openly wants to take up arms against people who are different than them, it becomes much, much harder to make an argument. Let's change the group completely. Say it's not KKK, say it's ISIS, right? An ISIS representative came to TJ. Because in my mind, they're on similar levels of just like... We cannot tolerate anything that they do, right? Just because it's so insane, right? I wouldn't be... If you let an ISIS member come to the school and talk about, their organization, their beliefs, again, it just goes back to the fact that you're saying that, all right, what this person believes has, like, some form of merit, okay? You're letting them come... tell people about what they think, and then ultimately let them argue for, the destruction of other people.
I think it's like these kind of things shouldn't happen at a school. A school should not have like polarizing issues as the place for these kind of... But there should be a different form.
It's a learning experience. If you put it in the context of a learning experience, then I think it's the best place for them.
Well, then there's like YouTube videos. Like that's how ISIS
recruits.
It's
a completely different... But that's like propaganda. This is like you have him in front of you. It's a completely different situation. You're seeing absolutely disgusting perspectives in your eyes, right in front of you, and you're seeing them argue, and then maybe they'll give you a chance to argue back. Like that's something. Like you can ask questions. I think you can probe
but these
into
groups
it.
are built on the fact that other people are inferior and don't deserve that voice, and you're on a stance where you're saying that
you're making assumptions. Like if you're assuming that if they came onto that podium that they wouldn't allow you to speak.
ISIS is like democratic and has people to like they want.
I'm talking about like a speaker coming to a university. I'm not talking about like going to an ISIS hideout somewhere. Like if you invite them, there is a certain expectation of them, and if they don't follow it, then they're not going to be invited back or, acknowledged. And
But then what happens if like you don't let them back, and then they're saying, "Oh, you were scared of them." And then it goes back.
They're gonna say stuff about, buddy. ISIS already thinks everybody's scared of them. That's
no. Say you have like a speaker that's like an extreme speaker. Mm-hmm. They go to a school, they talk, and then they want to come back, and you're saying that they shouldn't come back because.
Well, if they were a good speaker, if they were a good speaker, I don't mean like if they were charismatic, but if they allowed people to speak up, if they debated using their justifications, but that makes it a good. A good conversation isn't one that you agree with.
Okay, so you have these standards of what a person is. Is that someone who should believe in other people having opinions and having a good conversation? That's like a baseline that you're saying should exist. But the thing is, does everyone have that same idea of what debate or conversation should be?
Will you bring people on that at least will will give you not give you a voice, but will, what's the word?
Because I think you're kind of comparing like rational people who have rational arguments versus people who have irrational arguments.
And then I think if you become so focused on trying to argue with a specific person, then it becomes more arguing with a person rather than an ideology. Mm-hmm. Right.
My main point of contention is the fact that, I would not be comfortable with an ISIS representative or a KKK representative. Neil, you mentioned that you wouldn't be comfortable with a flat earther. Right?
No. I said the school wouldn't be.
Why would they be comfortable?
Because it's so like inane. It's not a problem. It's like such an anti-issue. No, not really.
No, but don't you think the school is more likely to let someone who believes in flat Earth theory on than
high school maybe, but
I think college.
Back to my point though, how do you draw the line between, say, letting a flat earther speak versus letting a climate change denier speak? How do you draw the line between letting someone from the KKK speak versus letting like Milo Yiannopoulos speak? Because there's certain people who would put those people in like the same category,
So
right?
my point is that one is a problem. One represents an actual group. The flat earthers are such an anti-problem. Like they're not doing anything. Like at that point, yeah, you would deny them. I'm saying you would deny the flat earther a voice.
This is exactly the argument.
Because it's
this
not
is
a point.
exactly the question that I'm trying to
That's
ask,
what you're
right?
doing.
Like
You're becoming the people who deny the
No,
people.
but like
who-
if you're okay, so that was like back in the high school context, right? If you're going to allow a KKK member or a flat earther, one is a perspective that has a backing that is sadly a problem in this country. So you want to bring that on. That's something that's a learning experience.
that's my question, Neil. How do you determine like which group has a valid?
you're creating
right?
like
That's
Okay, so
you
like
think
one
that the KKK has a valid.
you're
background
drawing a line
and
and
you
you're
think let them
something that
speak,
doesn't
but
have.
you don't think the flat earthers should be allowed to speak, right?
not
Some
that
people
they
would
should
say
be
both of
allowed
them
to-
shouldn't be like.
You're creating like sides
what I
when
mean?
this is much
Like-
more of a spectrum, and you
Like-
can't really
Like
pinpoint.
that university that wasn't letting that guy. What's his name again?
Milo Yiannopoulos. Like,
yeah, that wasn't letting him speak. They could take the same argument that this is a guy who doesn't have
exactly.
But
exactly.
it does. And when I'm saying
But
the
see,
flat
you
earther-
have a
see-
background,
yeah,
and you're
see-
trying to force it on this group right now. And
If I
that's
were a
where the
flat
irony
earther-
is coming in.
right. If I were a flat earther, I'd say the same thing. Like, yes, I have a backing,
Exactly.
and that my point is
so
valid.
you're
and that this is important.
you're being very ironic in this state.
I'll have to think about it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it right now, but
So
I'll
basically,
think about
it kind of goes back to with the insults, like you said. It's if you accepted one place, that means
Oh,
it's accepted
okay.
everywhere. I think it's kind of
I think okay, like going to the extreme is like some kid believing in goblins, giving them a voice. But that's not what a flat earther is, and I agree with that.
I think like for schools is when they have people over. There's like it's an academic institution, and there's like a level of reputation that like of learning or like background in education that they kind of assume. But like, would there be a more public forum where anyone would come in and talk about anything?
Personally, I think that a school should be a place for, debate and intellectual argument, right? It bothers me when I see places like the University of Berkeley banning controversial speakers, or even other universities, right? Just because I feel like issues like this should be brought up to the front line, right? Even at a place like TJ, where you see a lot of times on TJ Events / Politics, a bunch
my
of
God.
like Republicans who feel like, oh,
Republicans
the
is in
school-
yeah,
quotations, by the way.
Republicans was in air quotes.
Yeah.
Republicans in air quotes, where they say, oh, the school filled with libtards is keeping me from speaking. What was my point? Well,
And I just want to tack on something to that. It's like it's hypocritical as well because you're giving more power to those voices that you're denying in the end when you don't give them a platform
Yeah.
because it does shine your decision in a certain light.
I think it grounds them that they're right, but it doesn't necessarily mean that their ideas are spreading.
so. Okay, so
again,
maybe
it
there's like
goes-
two ways to look at it.
it
There's
goes
one
back-
that's like this is not an argument. You're dumb. So that's one way to look
So
at
then
it.
it
Or the
goes
other
back,
is
like-
that we don't want to have this conversation.
It goes back to like, do you
Yeah.
try to change their mind
Yeah.
or do you want to lock them away?
Hmm.
And it's like, and then it all comes with the fact that you're coming with a background, and is your background even right at all? So
I mean, I think that's
deep thoughts.
we just went full circle, and I think that's a good place to end
Are we
today.
wrapping up?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
we're right back
I
at
would
it
like to
too.
propose an alternative to calling people like argue like the questionable insults.
Okay.
I think that we should just come up with our own.
We should have better
Wouldn't that-
insults, you ding
Look
dong.
at this freaking Ananto.
You
Such
goofball.
a piece of
twat.
You goofball.
You goofball.
Twat is in,
It's a
that's an
real.
insult.
That's a really offensive
Yeah.
insult. Yeah.
Yes, that's like a British. I think that's a British slur for homosexuals. I feel
I
like.
thought it was like the
It's
C
for
word.
It's like something genitalia related.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it always is.
I was about to point at his inner thigh.
This is where mine is located. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Alrighty.
Any last comments?
Nope. You son of a cur.
Moral of the story: call your friends goofballs.
This has
Come
been your
on.
host, Nanta Zaman, signing off. Two Syntax and the mic.
Neil
And
Shah signing off.
Tim Liu.
Parth Jane.
hopefully we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you for listening.